Nicole Lebrasseur, a dedicated legal researcher with over 15 years of experience, proudly serves as the founder and CEO of the Canadian People's Union NFP. Alongside her on the board of directors are Denis Lamothe, CFO, and Barb Garlow, a respected director and member of the Six Nations. Together, they stand united in their mission at the CPU, an organization unlike any other, representing informed Canadian citizens and Indigenous peoples from coast to coast. The CPU's goal is simple yet profound: to challenge the status quo and advocate for our collective civil and political rights reclamation, a legacy eroded by political oversight and global pressures. Today, we at the CPU seek to ignite a spark of change, progress, and a reimagined democracy. Our mission is to illuminate the role of citizens within our political system, expose the international principles Canada has neglected, and introduce a viable solution for reform. The core of our critique lies in the partocracy system, a 19th century political framework where power resides with parties over citizens. This system has failed to evolve with societal needs, overshadowing citizens' voices with party interests. Additionally, despite the passage into the 21st century, Canada's status as an undecolonized constitutional monarchy starkly contrasts with the principles of a true democracy, where citizens should be collective sovereigns and actively participate in decision-making processes. We propose a transformative shift towards true democracy, prioritizing the collective voice and ensuring adherence to national and international human rights laws, a sector alarmingly ignored by our current leaders. Canada must fulfill its commitments to the conventions, treaties, statutes, and the International Bill of Rights, including the Syracuse and Johannesburg Principles. These frameworks, demanding that restrictions on freedoms be lawful, necessary, proportionate, and non-discriminatory, are foundational yet overlooked in our domestic policies, leading to confusion, unnecessary spending, and detrimental health outcomes, to name a few. The disparity between our international promises and domestic practices calls for immediate action. As Canadians, we must bridge this gap for legal compliance and to uphold democracy, human rights, and the rule of law. The CPU stands ready to lead this charge, advocating for Canada to become a global beacon of justice and human dignity. At this crossroads, we demand the opportunity to redefine governance to truly serve the people. The Powershift to Freedom project represents a crucial step towards embedding our collective rights firmly within our Constitution, shifting political power back to citizens and Indigenous peoples. This shift is not just a dream, it's a necessity, and we need your passion, voice, and commitment to democracy to make it happen. Your engagement is vital. Join us by endorsing the Convention of Consent, a living document that becomes legally binding with the support of 51% of citizens in 7 provinces. This convention is a step towards a brighter, more democratic future where past injustices are lessons learned, not repeated. Citizens 15 years old and over can sign at the cpu.ca. Together, we can usher in a new era of governance where corruption and unaccountability are relics of the past and our rights are protected and cherished. Let's make this vision a reality.
Well, hello, everybody. Surprise, surprise, I'm back. I even have my apparatus in my face. Okay. So anyways, this is my oxygen, my new nicotine. Okay. But anyways, I just want to make sure that everybody understood that things were great. Again, you know, things happen for a reason. And funny enough, I ended up with bronchitis and ended up in the hospital, which actually was a huge benefit to me because as of today, I'm 10 days without smoking, 10 days tied to this thing. And, but mind you, eventually I'll be able to remove it. I can remove it now, but when I speak, I lose a lot of air. So I want to make sure that I can speak with you right now and not lose too much air because I still have maybe a couple of weeks of this to go on. So, anyways, hey, life could be worse, but at the same time, we finally found out why I was so tired all the time. And, again, the bronchitis set in and it wouldn't remove itself. And then I ended up, how can I say, not being able to breathe very much. So my breath intake went down to 66. And, if it wasn't for these little machines here, okay, these are finger machines that you can put in your fingers, on your finger, and then you press this and it'll tell you exactly, right now it's upside down there, but exactly how much air you're keeping in. So with me, I had one, but it all came apart in my purse while the batteries fell out, and I never put it back together. And when I started getting sick or having a hard time to breathe, it never even dawned on me to check this little machine. I mean, you can buy these for $26 and up on Amazon. This one cost me $49 because I wanted one with a beeper, just in case. But right now, my breath intake is at 96. So 96 to 99, that's really, really good. Mine was when we called the ambulance, it was 66. 66 is the last bottom. Well, it starts at 67. So 67 down, you're a good chance of brain damage and heart failure. So the good news is that I'm a strong horse. Okay. So anyways, I never went into confusions. I never went to convulsions. My heart is fine. No damage at all. Other than, like scared the ambulance, the paramedics pretty good. They were freaked out. But even at 66, for me, it was wow, Um, so thanks, being at a saturator. Yeah. It was okay. Here's a good lesson learned, you know. But the reason why I want to talk to you about this is because Rhonda and I were talking before, and we're talking about people who are tired, people with heart disease, heart problems, all kinds of other issues. Well, everybody needs to get one of these. I mean, it's really important to get one of those little machines. You can get them at every pharmacy, at the pharmacy. Um, and I'll always, check. Because once it goes below, well, once it goes below 90, you're supposed to get yourself to the hospital. Uh, okay. Last time I was in the hospital in 2022, December 2022, um, with another bout of uh, not being able to breathe. Um, my saturation was at 80. Okay. Now my saturation was 66. And it was like, okay. So not everybody would end up being like me. Like I have to admit, I have a really strong heart, really strong comeback. Like I said, other than be able to breathe, I'm going to show you because I did make a video while I was in the hospital. I was in the hospital 6 days, and no live chat on YouTube. Oh, that's weird. Okay, well, maybe refresh, Brian. Sorry, people. I'm just answering some questions here. Anyways, what happened was no, I don't have any. How can I say? I'm going to answer this question for everybody. I'm not vaccinated, and never will I be. Okay, ever. So, and not that they didn't try in the hospital, but I call it, public health terrorism because the whole time I was there, I was being harassed about, giving them a PCR test, and I refused the PCR test again. Okay, so the reason why I want to speak to you is about this. So you'll be able to see the video that I made, and I found that I saw a lot in the hospital while I was there. I could have taken a video where people were coming in out, like doctors, nurses, the people who bring in the trays for the food. We're all going into these hospital rooms where it said COVID. You got to wear a gown and the gloves and the mask and everything else. They would do this with the family members, but the rest didn't even bother. Okay, except for the odd few that would come. Even the girls who would take blood tests didn't even dress up the whole thing. They only had their masks on and their gloves. That was it. So, anyways, it was really funny to see the dynamics there. In regards to what was going on, are they really afraid of COVID? No, but I'll tell you something. There's a huge brainwashing that happened in there, because every time I just say something to the doctor in relevance to the fraud, he'd let me speak, and then after that, he'd start all over again with his spiel. Well, we need a PCR test. And we have a PCR test that can tell whatever kind of virus you may have. You may even have HPV. And I'm thinking, okay, hello, you know, you have no clue who the hell you're talking to here. So, anyways, I went back. I said, hey, we have court documents. None of the PCR tests cannot identify the difference of what virus it is. So whatever you just told me is BS. And that's what they're feeding you. So, anyways, I had a blast with that for 6 days. Not that I would want to, but the thing is it's harassment. It is pure harassment because he just kept going back. It was like replay, 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 and he wasn't getting he was not hearing what I was saying. It's like they've all been brainwashed, and the minute you start telling the truth, they no longer hear you. They no longer hear you. Excuse me. Now, this is COPD. So, anyways, I was explaining to the doctor, I said, I have two kinds of coughs, okay? And I said, depending on what's coming out in the clouds, whatever's happening up there, I will have two different coughs. And I know something's up. Just before it rains, right away, I start having difficulties. So I was trying to explain to him, I said, you need to research this, weather modification. Don't call it chemtrails, call it weather modification, and then sun dimming. And I said, I've got lots of pictures I could show everybody because every time I go somewhere, I take pictures when I see these things. And sure enough, we had come back from Montreal and sun dimming was happening. And, amongst other things. So why is everybody having coughing issues? Why is everybody feel like they've got this phlegm stuck in their throats and they can't get it out? Well, whatever's coming down, people, we're getting it. And it's not about what humanity is doing. Well, I mean, it is about in regards to what humanity is doing. It's about what our governments are allowing in the air. And we need to look into this because more people will get sick. And they've been getting sick for years. We just haven't, nobody really looks up at the sky, right? So anyways, you're going to hear me mention the environment. And when I'm talking about the environment, I'm talking about what the governments are doing. Okay? Cloud seeding has been going on since 1897 when they got the first patent on it. And that was what's his name? Oh my God. Tesla. Okay. Tesla got the patent on that. So anyways, in 1897. So do your research, people. I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything like that. I'm telling you facts. And anyways, now with cloud seeding, sun dimming, that was by one of our own little Canadians who went down to Harvard and now has been doing this with the military and everybody in the United States, Harvard. So, you can do some research there as well. You'll find out. And then in Canada, we also have in Ottawa, which I would like to be able to see this place. Someday, hopefully, I'll be in Ottawa region. And I'm going to go see where they've created vaccinated lettuce. So now we're at a point in time where we don't know what the truth is. We don't know what's true, what's not true, what's faked. Because of the internet and all of this, we no longer, unless you see it for your things for yourself, even videos, they might have, you might someday see a video of me saying some stupid thing that really I never said, but you can say, oh, yeah, that's her voice, and that's her, and I saw her speaking. Hello? Um, so a lot of people are living in huge illusions that our governments and everybody else have created. So it's unbelievable. So with me coming back to my hospital stay, somebody's talking about emphysema. I don't have emphysema. All I had was bronchitis. Okay. They tried to brand me with COVID. Could brand me with COVID. And I said, well, hey, you want to test me? I'll spit in something, but you're going to have to tell me exactly where my um, that test is going and who's going to be handling it and what they're going to do with it, because I want to make sure they can't use it for something else. So we asked the doctor, do you know where our PCR tests go? And he couldn't answer that question. Well, how are you supposed to get informed consent if you don't even know where it's going yourself? So, I pity the doctor in a sense, but hey, he had it coming. Uh, you know, but anyways, at the same time, these are things that are very relevant to everybody. And with everything that's going on, there's so much. There's only one solution, and I'll repeat this: join the Canadian People's Union, sign your Citizens Convention of Consent, get everybody in your community, everybody you know, to do the same, and we can get our country back if we're smart enough. Nothing else will stop all of these things going on. There's too many of them. We can't keep up. We cannot keep up. So, anyways, it's unbelievable. So, again, like I said, right now you might be wondering how come I've got this. I've got this for a couple of weeks. They don't know how long I'll need it, but right now it's to be able to make enough air in my bloodstream that because I waited too long, the air kept going out of my blood. Like I had less and less and less blood in my bloodstream. And that's how I ended up in the hospital. But now I know how to regulate that. I know how to work that. And I'm going to make sure that, you know, um, I'm going to be smarter this time. But everybody who has really are always tired and everything else, you need to check your your air saturation, because that's really important. Something as simple as putting, this little machine on for a few minutes. But you don't do it just sitting down. You do it after you've walked, and then you see if it goes down. Then if it comes back up into the high 90s, then you're great to go. So I'm already in uh, between 90. Well, I had 99 to 95 a while ago, which was great because most of the time I was going back down to 80, and they don't want to accept 80 for me. They said 88 to 93 right now for you, but you're gonna have to do some exercises, breathing exercises. And because I'm always sitting down, so I don't breathe like I would normally if I was walking around. So we all need to learn how to breathe, people, and get more oxygen, I've learned a lot, and this was a good 6 days. I've thought about a lot too, and now I'm among the non-smoking people. And this is the only way that I would have quit smoking, seriously. This was the only way. So, anyways, neither here nor there. I'm going to show you this little video. And, this is the third day in that I was. But, and this was actually on the 13th I made that video on the 13th of April. So 7 days ago. But you'll be able to see it here. I'm just going to go and share screen here. Okay, there we go. And it's not the best video, but it's all that I had. I was stuck in a room with hardly no lighting, and that's kind of it. So share. Okay, now I'm going to play this for you. Well, hello. Uh, I'm back in the hospital. I've been here since Tuesday, um, April 10th, I think. Anyways, um, I'm going to be here for a little while. It's just a matter of getting my lungs to open up because I've got too much water on the lungs, thanks to the environment, courtesy of Mr. Justin Trudeau and associates. So, anyway, what I wanted to mention is that thank you to the Canadian government for public health in ruining all of our lives when really sick people need to go to the hospital and having to get harassed with a bogus PCR test that apparently will be able to identify all kinds of viruses when it couldn't even identify the first one anyway. Okay? We've been dealing for years with all kinds of influenza, all of these HPV, everything. Why do we need a PCR test that's supposed to be able to identify every other virus that we might have, which is useless? Because we know the truth about PCR tests, okay? And where, the questions that the doctors can't answer when we ask them, where's this PCR test going? Where's my DNA going? That's the real question. Who is going to be manipulating this DNA? And if you think that the government has the right to our medical information, Justin Trudeau, you're breaking another law. And every premier who doesn't listen to this video better make sure that he does or she does, because you're going to be in a lot of trouble, because we have rights. We have privacy rights. And the government has no business. Politics has no business in our public health in that manner. I don't want my DNA being sent worldwide. And truth be known, the whole 4 years was about a huge DNA collection against the people's will for a huge data bank that Quebec genome, okay, I think it's BC19, yeah, BC19, who sits on the new genome corporation, international corporation. And if anything happens to our genome, okay, especially with these mRNA, you're not supposed to touch our genome. Humans, as found in nature, are to remain as found in nature. It's illegal to touch the genome. Doesn't matter if our mRNA doesn't change DNA or whatever. We will never know because of all of your lies. We will only know when it's too late. So, we got to prevent things from happening here and getting overboard. 4 years has been too long to stand up and do nothing. It's time for the people to stand up. And by standing up, it's time for the people to take their power, take control over this governance, because we have that right through collective self-determination and complete decolonization to be done properly. That wasn't done in 1982. So please go to the cpu.ca, sign your Citizens Convention of Consent. Let's take our power to be able to tell our government no once and for all, and to stop the shenanigans. Because eventually, when you find out what's going on in the UK and other countries who could not list SARS-CoV-2 as a highly infectious, deadly disease, they had to remove it from that list. Canada did not, United States did not, but even the UK decided politically, the political side decided to go against public health and to run the pandemic scam anyway.
And then people died uselessly over this scam. And this is what's happening in hospitals now, still to this day, with their bogus information. They do not follow the science, they follow politics. And statistics, AI statistics, you can shove that up your you know where, because you can keep all that AI all you want and it will not tell us the truth, because that too can be fixed. So until we start seeing facts and the truth, Mr. Trudeau, you need to get the hell out of government before you keep killing other people, because you have. Your actions and non-actions have created this. Your hands and the government's hands have been at the hand of making sure that the people are not listened to. You have been acting nothing shy of a dictator. The things that have happened the last since you started was all for an agenda. You have no business in government, you nor Freeland or anybody else that has been advancing the agenda of the World Economic Forum, changing our policies for the WEF policies. Why are you not in jail right now? I don't know. But eventually, that's where you're going to be. That's where you belong. You and Freeland and everybody else, including David Lametti, for misfeasance over everything that they've done. A justice minister is supposed to hold up the justice. And eventually we'll find somebody that will. But right now we know that Varani is not protecting justice either, because if justice was protected, our Bill of International Human Rights, which is embedded in our Constitution, would have been used, and the last 4 years never would have been like this. It's time you started honoring justice and the true rule of law, not the rule by law, which is what you're doing. And eventually, I hope, eventually and soon enough, if another country doesn't lock you up, that the Canadian citizens will. So anybody who supports this, wants to protect their families and all Canadians, please go to the cpu.ca, sign your Citizens Convention of Consent. Tell everybody that can to sign up, and that will allow us to be able to advance all of our rights at the international level of collective self-determination, take our natural resources back out of their hands and the control of our lives. And if any of the provinces move forward on giving the government the right to our personal information, that's enough to be able to set the world on fire. Okay? Because the other countries have signed to first do no harm. You do not touch her genome. There's international laws for that. And you do not coerce a whole planet on false information in regards to a virus. Okay? All of the countries can turn around and sue Canada right now because Justin Trudeau, you and your parliamentarians are in a lot of trouble. Thank you. Nicole Lebrassard, okay, cpu.ca. And it's a fair warning. The law will catch up to you.
Okay, so that was that. Okay. Not one of my better days, but I was pissed as hell. I mean, stewed for 6 days, and finally I told him, I said, listen, I'm going, I want to go home. And finally they wouldn't let me out of the hospital until I was all equipped with this here, and I've got a little portable here. I'm all set. And it's kind of weird because I feel like my body is rejuvenating itself from A to Z, and it's the strangest thing. The last thing that I needed to do was be sensible enough and realize that oxygen feels a hell of a lot better than nicotine. Okay. Because whoops. And one of the statements I need to make, I didn't realize this. I mean, you kind of forget how good air feels. But I'm a person who couldn't sleep more than 2 hours, at a time, and if I was lucky. So now with the oxygen, I feel totally rejuvenated. Dennis had to wake me up at 10 a.m. the other morning, 10 a.m., and we were kind of in shock. And so my life is opening up in the strangest ways, so hey, it was a bad for a good thing, and I'm all happy with that. And like I said, I can remove this whenever I want, as long as I don't extenuate myself. I'm fine. I just make sure to test the air in my bloodstream with my little finger gadget there. And again, please go and buy yourselves one. Don't wait, or don't do like I did, which is neglect using the one I already had. But when you get tired like that, try and see, when you exert yourself a bit, try and see what your air intake is at, because it could change your whole outlook. It could change the way you sleep. It could change everything, everything. So now I'm getting an influx of oxygen, and I'm thinking, wow, maybe I'll never want to give this up. So, anyways, little joke, slight joke there. But, it's not about, the environment, making sure. I mean, we make oxygen all the time. Everything makes oxygen all the time. It's just a matter of having an easier access to it. But the thing is we got to stop our governments from doing what they're doing. They are the ones that are allowing everything to happen. They are the ones doing this to us. And Canada is the number one country being used by the elite for world domination and destroying Canadians and people worldwide. So, first of all, if you go back, I should have put this online. But anyways, I don't have it right now, but I will add this. But when you're looking at the virus that we had, it does state at the end, okay, the McMaster's University isolation of it, the apparently what they qualified as an isolation was that it could not produce a healthy infection. So I told this to the doctor. I said, how could hundreds of thousands of doctors, 800,000 back in 2005 that I remember in the United States, not one could read the bottom line? Are you like, what the hell's the problem here? When none of them can read the bottom line of the isolation from Canada, but the UK said, okay, well, we're not touching that one. We can't list it as a highly infectious disease. So they had to remove it. Mind you, the politicians in the UK kept going with their scam, just as our politicians did. And do you know that the Commonwealth realm is involved in this worldwide depopulation? They're behind all of this? Oof. Along with the United States. So I've said my piece. I don't know what's going to happen with this video, if I'm going to get barred again from, our social media hypocrites. But anyways, I'm going to let you go with this here. And hey, we're on the ball again. I feel better than I've ever had in not my whole life, but the last 20 years anyway. And I'm going to stick to this oxygen thing. It's a good idea. Okay. But anyways, we're back on track, and we're going to see our members not this week, but next week, because we had to cancel this week's that meeting. So anyways, we're going to get back on track with that as well. And hey, I'm feeling good. Okay. So thank you very much. Have yourself a great weekend. like I said, you want to change your life, join the CPU, sign your convention of consent. We'll see you there. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Attention, Canadians. Feel disconnected from our current political system? Join the Powershift to Freedom movement by the Canadian People's Union and be part of a bold vision for Canada's future. It's time to shift the political power to its rightful owners, the Canadian citizens and Indigenous peoples of Canada. Dive into our history, understand the need for change, and embark on the quest for true democracy. Are you concerned about our nation's commitment to human rights and self-governance? The Powershift to Freedom aligns with vital treaties and international laws, enabling us to claim our rightful place as collective head of state. We advocate replacing our partocracy system with a true democracy to ensure your voice counts more than party interests. When our national collective civil and political rights are respected, your influence on policies will be direct and impactful. Join us on this noble struggle to make every Canadian and Indigenous peoples a meaningful participant in our future. People 15 years old and over can sign the Convention of Consent and unite for our rights in the Constitution. Ready to be part of this transformative movement? Visit thecpu.ca for more details. Embrace the change and shape our future.
OK, one last thing. En français, je vais être de retour dans à peu près 15 minutes. On se revoit en français. Merci, bye-bye.